Hello everyone, and welcome to the Silverbird 2023 Governorship Debate for Lagos State. So good to know you are here. It is brought to you by the Silverbird Communications, owners of Silverbird Television, Silverbird News 24, and Reading FM stations across Nigeria. I am David Obabudike. I want to say a very big welcome to the debate, the Governorship Debate 2023 here in Lagos. In alphabetical order, we have to my extreme right, representative for the Accord Party, we have Akim Onikoyi Dixon. Can we just make welcome? We also have for the Action Alliance, Tope AbdurRazaq Balogun. Next will be the representative for the Labour Party, rather the African Democratic Congress. ADC, we have Funsho Doherty next. For the Labour Party is Gbadebo Rhodes Viver. For the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran, also known as Gadon. And finally, we have for the Social Democratic Party, Kunle Uthman. Thank you all for honoring our invitation. Now let's meet our panelists. We have Ace broadcaster, Shewon Yedeji, one of our panelists. Chris Kende Wando, Executive Director, African Governance and Leadership Initiative and host Inside Politics with CKN on STV. We also have Mustafa Issa, who is the President, Nigerian Guild of Editors. Gentlemen, thank you for coming in for us this evening. All right, so let's invite Action Alliance, Tope AbdurRazaq Balogun.
I was born in Lagos. I'm a Lagosian. I'm from the axis of Lagos. Opportunity of going through primary school at early primary school in Ilegobu. I attended Ijebode Grammar School in Ijebode. I had the opportunity of going to Federal College of Education, Technical Koka. From there, I proceeded to University of Nigeria, Uzuka, for my first degree. I studied computer science, and later I went into National University of Nigeria for a master's degree in educational technology. Briefly, that's about my career path, and I'm an ICT consultant because I've done so many courses on software development and networking. So I'm a certified ICT consultant. I'm into this race with my team to right so many wrongs that are happening within Lagos State governance, and that is why we are able to come up with an agenda which we codenamed Rebirth, REBIRTH. We call it Lagos Rebirth Agenda, to have a new face for Lagos, where every sector will be well taken care of, and the general theme, Rebirth, is geared towards having equity across our board in Lagos, because we have different classes of people in Lagos, and we observed that subclasses of our people are deprived seriously because the people at the end of affairs are not actually interested in the hallmark of governance, which is provision of comfort to citizenry. Instead of making governance about people-oriented comfort and tranquility, which is lacking, making people to make our brain drain, move in droves out of Nigeria. They're actually working towards themselves. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. This is Lagos State Governorship Debate 2023 put together by the Silverbird Communication. At this junction, I will be passing the baton to the panelists and let the debate begin now.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished candidates, would like to, let's say, sit on the existing protocols, if there's anything like that. The first question is on leadership. The position of the governor, especially in Lagos, comes with huge responsibilities, and anyone who dreams to occupy such office must be deliberate with clear-cut vision and mission. So why do you want to be the governor of Lagos State, and how would you handle that differently?
I will be the governor of Lagos State. I believe Lagos State is not in its right. I have the opportunity to work of governance, and those that have worked making Lagos work in the past, like a late Lateef Jakonde. I had of being a part of his Jakonde progressive movement, where I was under his tutelage for not less than 2 years, and we were able to ask questions on how come they were able to have good governance during their time and why it is not working presently. And the major factor he identified is the willpower and contentment, where we have people in government that are concerned about comfort and tranquility that people that they are leading are needed to be given. And as a result, what concerns them mostly, and which is why we are coming into the race to win this election, is to bring and to use the parameters of government to bring succor, tranquility, and comfort, provision of everything that is needed to make people live in Lagos and not exist in Lagos. I had the opportunity of learning through the present ADLEH chairman too. I met him, and we had a lot of working relationship. That he also tutored us, and these are people that were successful as Lagos State governor during their tenure. And on this basis, we believe we are well equipped, and going through what we have done in the past as a former state secretary, the political party that eventually metamorphosed into APC through the merger process with other parties. I had the opportunity of serving as a caretaker committee member. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As a follow-up question, Nigeria politics is more of godfatherism. Now, if Nigerians, Lagosians should trust you, that is for all of you, starting with you, sir. If Lagosians trust you with their mandate, how are they sure that you're going to be a man of your words and a man that is independent-minded without being fused around by any godfather or any level of godfather? Thank you very much.
All the landmines in those prominent political parties, and that is why we came up with the idea of Rescue Lagos team before we adopted Action Alliance as the political platform we are going to be flying this race with. And Axim has always been going through the masses instead of going through the route of the Godfather, so that when the dividends of democracy is to be shared and delivered, it will be delivered to the masses instead of the Godfathers. Thank you.
This question goes to all of you, starting with the candidate of the Action Alliance. How do we intend to govern Lagos State successfully if elected governor, with another party perhaps having majority in the House of Assembly?
Well, what? The last part of the
No, how do you intend to govern Lagos successfully with another party probably having majority in the House of Assembly?
If I'm having the majority in the...
No, another party having majority in the House of Assembly.
The major thing is bringing people together. When you look at Lagos Rebirth agenda, we have the B, where we have broad-based and all-inclusive governance. Everybody will be brought on board to discuss in Lagos. We all have the same interest, the interest of the people. So we will have to lobby ourselves and advocate for any policy that wants to scale through the assemblies. So we have to lobby, we have to use the instrumentality of politicking to get their consent so that we can forge ahead as Lagosians to achieve our goals.
Thank you very much. The next topic we're going to do with is security. And you all know that without security, every other thing that you said here won't work. Now, the question is, what is your roadmap for a mega city like Lagos in terms of security? 2, what is your take on Amotekun, that is already you already have in other southwestern states of Nigeria, which is working for them. But Lagos did not key into that, although they are part of the system. But Amotekun. So, what is your take on Amotekun and also your roadmap?
Firstly, on the issue of Amotekun, let me take it from there. We are not going to be christening Amotekun in Lagos because Lagos has a unique outlook. We are going to be reforming the existing community policing network in Lagos. And I think synergizing or exchange of ideas and information can be done with the Amotekun corps so that policing can be an all-round stuff. That's that on that. On our Rebirth agenda, the first R has to do with restoration of security of lives and property. And from that, we were able to identify 3 things that we are going to be doing to forestall insecurity in Lagos and bring about the security that is needed here in Lagos. The first part, we are going to be employing a lot of people into what we call vigilance level of security, because the vigilance level is where we are lacking presently, where so many people we see things that are going wrong and look away because there's nobody to report to. And again, if they report, there's no guarantee that they will not be exposed and there will be reprisal attack. So we are going to be employing people to do that job for 6 hours per day for 24 hours so that Lagos can be under vigilance for 24 hours by dedicated people that will be paid for that particular purpose. And on that basis also, we'll be moving to the next level, which is surveillance, where we are going to be deploying gadgets and special patrol team that will be doing that job specifically to gather information for people that are in the vigilance unit, to transfer them to people that will be proactive. That's the Nigerian police, who we are going to be supported with a lot of resources to be able to do their job. Many a time, those clandestine activities are planned ahead before they are being carried out. So at the vigilance and surveillance level, they would have been named in the board. So I think with that, we'll be able to take care of issues. Then we'll be looking at our schools in Lagos, secondary school particularly, where we have overpopulated population. And that is where they recruit many of these students because of overpopulation and lack of attention by teachers.
Lagos is the biggest economy in West Africa, and you can't even question how big it is for the Nigerian people. So how would you block leakages in revenue as well as the multiple taxation that many business people who found Lagos to be the beautiful place for them to do their business would really want?
Well, taxation is one of the ways government is being financed. So definitely there is no way we are not going to be looking at that sector. And what we have been able to come up with is that Lagos State has the capacity to have a 300% increase in its generation of income through taxation if leakages are well blocked. And that is the question. What are we going to do to block leakages? We are going to be deploying technology. That is the T in our Rebirth agenda. We are going to be synchronizing many of the ministries so that at the end of the day, we will be very, very clear about who generates what and from what source. Because today we have multiple taxation because almost everybody is trying to generate a particular target into a particular account without having boundaries. So you see somebody bringing a letter from the state, another person bringing. So the state is trying to usurp sometimes the foreign generation source of the local governments, and the local government is also trying to do the same thing. So because there is no synchronization, you cannot actually understand what is happening. Like, let me go to the health sector as a case study. If you are ill, you have an ailment, and you go to any of the general hospitals in Lagos, you are expected to just present a singular card, since we have general hospitals owned by Lagos State in different communities. But what we see is that you have to buy card, you have to register new, and buy card in every general hospital that is under Lagos State. That is going to eventually be a multiple taxation on the residents as a case study. And that is the same thing that happens in other sectors where we have people just modeling everything up. So what we are going to deploy, and the freedom of information bill that has been passed into law is not actually active in Lagos, where people can actually assess what goes about or what goes on in the government and have a channel or putting up their complaints such that they will be well there. So with that, we'll be able to take care of leakages. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. As a follow-up to the economy, the problem with politics in Nigeria is continuity. Another government comes in and wants to start its own projects, where there are some outstanding projects that must have been started by a previous government. Now, in specific times, in Lagos, we have some big, basic, major projects going on. One, the Fourth Mainland Bridge. Second, the railway project. And the third, the second, airports. Those are the three major projects. If you are elected a governor, will you continue with this project? Please make it as brief as possible. Thank you.
I'm elected the governor. I'm going to continue the rail project because it's going to be easing the mass movement of the masses, which I'm going to be representing. I'm going to be working on the new airport at the Lekki axis because of the business opportunities that are driving towards that axis. But if they have not started the construction of the Fourth Mainland Bridge, I'm going to stop it because it's a waste of the populace money. Because the issue of transportation in Lagos can be addressed better through our waterways. And that is what I'm going to be redeploying the resources on. When we are on this project, when we started this agenda setting, we were able to link up with Venice. Venice is like Lagos, it's surrounded by water. Lagos State has 13 local governments surrounded by water, where the water transportation can be well invested upon, and people will take that mode of transportation very well. And at the end of the day, we'll be generating billions of naira on a monthly basis without having to take the risk of wasting billions of naira constructing a Fourth Mainland Bridge that will become a white elephant project, just like we have the railway constructed for many years and is still not completed yet.
Lagos with the has the second largest population in this country. Some say it is even has the highest population in the country. But let's just leave that. There's a massive influx of people into Lagos daily because the state remains the commercial capital of the country. And this massive influx puts severe strain on infrastructure. So how do we intend to really tackle this challenge?
What we observe through our Rebirth agenda is where we have the high infrastructure development and the second rural development. We are able to identify that conventionally for any city to be a mega city, you must have the minimum of 10. You must have a minimum of 10 million people living in such a city to be tagged mega. Now, when you have that status mega city, you must have a mega plan, and because we'll be having mega people living in such an environment. But unfortunately, Lagos State is not actually doing what it's expected to do, and the state is allowing its infrastructure to be stressed out with the number of people that are migrating into Lagos, number of people that are being given back to in Lagos. And what we want to do is serious infrastructure development using our knowledge of operations research to determine what fits in at the lowest cost for every environment. Today we have different sets of roads having issues of traffic jam, but before now we are not having such in those roads because people have migrated and more people are living there. So they have to develop those roads in tandem with the reality of ground. Where we have intersections, they are supposed to build some kind of bridges that will limit such thing within that those axes. Today we are having Lagos State that is selling off all setbacks to build markets at major bus stops. These are supposed not to happen. Ordinarily, those setbacks are supposed to be for car parks where there will be free so that there can be free flow of traffic. These are things we are going to be looking at. Also, through massive development of the rural area, people will willingly want to leave the urban center down to the rural areas because they know that the rural areas, everything that are needed for them to live exists in those rural areas. Let's look at the school we have in Lagos State as a case study. Today, we have limited number of schools and a lot of overpopulated number of learners, turning them into street urchins within the first 3 years of entry into most schools.
Thank you, candidates. The next question focus on job creation, especially as it has to do with our young people. Every day that Lagos witnesses rural-urban migration with a lot of young people coming from all over the country, as well as the young people who are also born, bred in Lagos or who've lived in Lagos all their lives. But the big question is how much job can be created for them, or what are those things that your party will be doing to ensure that these young people are gainfully employed or helped to maximize their potentials?
Labor, because people that are inconsequential to the economy today thrive better in Lagos. If they can just bring out the demon in them, they will be making more money than a responsible Lagosian, and that is where we are going to be coming up from. When we bring dignity to labor, people will like to attain skills that will make them to be functional better in Lagos. We will be bringing into Lagos. I'm an ICT person, and I know that in the world over, we have so much ICT space that are yet to be filled across the globe, where you can sit down in the comfort zone of your house and work for any international community or company because you have the skill that are required. But the skills are lacking because the government is not really giving the young minds the enabling environment to learn most of these skills. We are going to be bringing in experts that will train young minds on data science, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and the likes, such that at the end of people that are interested in working at that top level skill economy will be employed in such space. Also, we'll be looking at the issue of energy, where we have the second E, we'll be creating jobs through the energy sector, where we'll be having independent power plant projects in different localities. With such arrangements, many things that can be converted in Lagos State into electrical energy can then generate employment for people. Like we have waste products in different parts of Lagos. Today we have technology that can convert most of these things into energy source that can be useful to people in Lagos. This thing will create more jobs. People with disability will also have the opportunity to be given jobs based on, if you look at all the states in Nigeria, when they do all these when they do all these sports festivals, many of their athletes actually domiciled in Lagos.
Thank you very much. Nairobi and Johannesburg is noted for tourism. Then you also know that Nigeria is, as far as Africa is concerned, is number one in the entertainment industry in Africa, moving. And Lagos has that potential. So what will your government do to support the entertainment industry as well as tourism so that you can have that as an avenue of attracting more revenue to the covers of your government? Please, 1 minute. Thank you.
Agenda, the T under the part of the T is going to be taking care of tourism, and we went into Dubai to look at what is making them to thrive, and we saw that they actually made use of the opportunity of the desert they had, and they created something that will make people want to go to Dubai. And Dubai is a state, just like Lagos State is a state. And many people will tell you they want to go to Dubai instead of telling you they want to go to United Arab Emirates. Tourism part of Dubai makes the Dubai such an attractive center, and that is the thing we're bringing into Lagos, where people want to flock into Lagos, where you have the opportunity to generate more money through tourism. Look at from Badagry down to Epe, there is a coastal road or a coastal pattern that links such a very long distance different parts of Lagos together. We can develop so many things within that axis, and at the end of the day, we'll be having more people attracted to Lagos because they want to enjoy the ambience of such an environment, and the entertainment industry will be given the opportunity to thrive based on our culture.
Distinguished candidates, I want to say that it is a known fact that Lagos requires a large or a very huge revenue base. But let us remember that there are so many tax evaders out there, especially in the informal sectors. So how do you intend to bring in these so-called tax evaders into the tax net?
There's something that is not within the purview of Lagos that we are discussing here. So Lagos State has to lobby the federal government to do some things rightly, because presently I know there is a call-up method that is being adopted by the Apapa port stuff, where they have all the trucks are not supposed to be on the road almost at the same time, except you receive a call-up. But it is not working because the federal government is not doing its own part of the job very well. And Lagos State has limitations, especially when it has to do with the federal roads. So Lagos State has to lobby the federal government to understand that they have to be up to their own responsibility. Now, with that, we have to be able to tell them if they have to use the road for the main time, they have to use it at certain period, especially when we have less number of private vehicles and commercial vehicles transporting the residents, such that the incidents that that kept recurring these days, that kills people incessantly in Lagos, will be reduced to the barest minimum. And the issue of tax, I think taxation has to do with threshold of what's it called, earnings. So if people are not within that threshold of earning, I don't see why you are going to be taxing them unnecessarily. And I think the tax reform would have done so much on that. Advocacy, lobbying, and
thank you so
making
very
publicity
much.
about it.
Thank you. I think you have done justice to the 1 minute. Thank you, gentlemen. At this point, just in case you have a question for each other, I'm going to open the floors. You could interrogate any of the candidates in just 30 seconds if we can. If we don't have any more questions, I'll give you your 1 minute each to summarize your manifesto for the process. Any question? You want to question any of the candidates? Okay, let's do that in 30 seconds.
Please, what is your view? What's your perception about the third degree status that is being promoted by the two prominent parties in Lagos? Yes, PDP and APC. APC is not yet.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. This is why I'm going to address it. We have a chief security officer in this state, even though he's outgoing. By now, my expectation would be that he would have come out to condemn this spate of attacks everywhere. One happened yesterday with Labour Party. I commiserated with my brother here. Today, again, we had similar thing in Lagos Island. You all heard the viral audio of local government and Baale in the Baroque community in Etiosa local government, threatening people that if they do not vote APC. And we have a governor that hasn't said anything to condemn this attack and live up to his responsibility as the chief security officer of the state. It's sad, really. So for me, you then know who is actually the sponsor of all of this attack. Because, hey, we expect that by now you would have actually come out to say, you condemn this and take charge as the CSO of this state. But unfortunately, he's practically absent in that place. Yeah. So we are not the one, he's the one. Thank you.
I think that does it for us this evening on that segment of the debate. I will give all the candidates 30 seconds, as much as you can. Sell your manifesto, and we'll wrap up the program.
What we'll be looking at is deploying a solution-driven rebate agenda for us to attain the hallmark of governance, which is giving comfort, tranquility, and succor to the people that lives in Lagos. Through the Rebirth agenda, we are going to be restoring security of lives and property through the engineering of security measures, through effective disaster management step of flood and fire incidents. We are going to be looking at energy. We are going to be looking at effective free education and accessible education among the like to the healthcare sector, which is the last part of the Rebirth agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, all our candidates. We appreciate you for the time given to us, and your manifestos all sounds quite interesting and something that we look forward to. I want to say a very big thank you to our panelists, CKN, Chris Kenewando, Shehu Yedeji, Mustafa Isa. Fantastic job you guys have done this night. Lagos, here are your candidates. March 11 is the day for the decision. Go to the polls, use your PVC, and decide who governs you. Thank you, Lagos, for listening. We acknowledge the crew. Yes, I think at this point I can relapse the guideline, the regulation. You can clap if you want to clap. All right. Thank you. Thank you, our audience. You have been well behaved all evening. Thank you so very much. That's our program. That's our debate. March 11 is a D-Day. Go cast your votes. Go decide who becomes your governor. Here are your candidates. Thank you and have a good night.